Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Welcome everyone. So we are on the second matter of the third fundamental point of the second aim in our study of the 29th word. This is week 27, I believe. So we've been really getting deeper into this topic. The 29th word is about angels, the immortality of spirit, and resurrection. So in the second aim, we've been looking at the necessity for resurrection. And we started the third fundamental point 2 weeks ago. And last week we read the first matter. So in these three matters that we are reading, we're looking at divine power and its different aspects. So last week we talked about how this sort of pre-eternal power that is timeless, absolute, has to be a necessary inherent quality of the most pure and holy divine essence. So some of my notes from last week were it's because we experience degrees of beauty and degrees of other things in life that could be as mundane as heat or coldness, or more lofty things like beauty, that we experience those degrees. It helps us confirm the endlessness and infinity of their source. Every time I see something beautiful, I have this experience that this is beautiful, but then I can see something that is even more beautiful, or I can kind of think these are incomparably beautiful to each other. So this idea of there being more in my experience of beauty, of ugliness, of good, of evil, they're signs. The experience I have is a sign that the source of that beauty has to be endless, infinite. And one thing that we're really focusing here with the second aim is to have yaqeen, have this belief that's active, that's here and now, of the hereafter. So when I think of the akhirah, I don't want to say it's possible, it probably exists. I don't want to just not deny it. I need it to be something that's very active and solid here and now. So when we are reading these passages, we should try to see how they can help us achieve that yaqeen, right? Achieve that sort of conviction. So it's not just, yeah, maybe angels exist. I don't have any reason to deny them. Yeah, there's probably an afterlife. We don't want to be there where it's probable, maybe, but we want to be in a place where I have full conviction that the hereafter exists, that there are angels, that there is an angelic side to creation. Because these are core tenets of Iman, right? So we come into the halakha sometimes with a lot of, I don't want to say baggage, but we come with a lot of preconceived notions. So we know if someone asked, most people here would probably be really easily list the 6 tenets of faith, the 5 principles of Islam, all of those things. But when it comes to our day-to-day life, every hour, every moment of my continued creation, do I actually feel conviction in those things that I can list off very easily? So we want to move from a simple information-based belief into belief that is actually backed by conviction, right? Okay, so with that, I think we can just start reading the second matter. And I think before we get to the third, I'll just do a brief pause so that we can talk about our upcoming event this Saturday, inshallah. Anyone would like to share any reflections on our reading from the past 2 weeks on power, divine power being essential, etc.? Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, and everyone.
Walaikum
I'm gonna try my best to have a good comment. Shukr, please, thank you. So I know you spoke about, and thank you for the reminder of what we're covering here. And just to remind myself and everyone that, yes, Dr. Yamina often emphasizes that ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, that وَهُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. So there's this great emphasis on having yaqeen with akhirah. And so for my level, and I'll speak for myself, before even talking about yaqeen, like we're reading Imam Nursi specifically because he spelled out the how to cultivate iman by reading the signs, how to practically do it in your own personal life. Here's the manual of how I did it, and here's how you can look at the universe and contemplate it as well to see if you can arrive at your own experience of what I'm telling you I experienced. At least that's what I understand from what I'm sharing with his journey. May Allah have endless mercy on him and all of those who teach according to the Prophet's path, alayhi salatu wassalam. So I just want to remind myself, like, if we're not doing the work by looking out your window, looking at your life, looking at yourself, I'd be asking for a lot to say daily, but daily, weekly, yes.
Brush my teeth and lost it in the mouthwash.
If we're not doing the work, this halakha has absolutely no purpose. And then everybody, I mean, not that you can drop off, but you can drop off because it's not what we're supposed to be doing here. So we want to turn up together. This is language that we use nowadays, at least where I'm from. We turn up the intensity of how we study by growing together. And that's something that we're all hoping to do by meeting more intimately on a discussional basis with Dr. Yamina, offering her time and space and experience and study and her expertise, alhamdulillah, that she was given on her prophetic path, following the Prophet's path and following through the study of Imam Nursi. So just to, again, renew for me, because I need the reminder all the time, and I study with people who remind me every single halakha what we're doing and why we're doing it, because that's how the human being is. That's how the Quran speaks to us, and that's how Imam Nursi spells out this work so slowly. Some people ask me like, oh, but why him? Why him? Listen, this is what we're doing here. If you don't like it, yani it's not your vibe, then please find the walk that best suits you. But for at least me here, I deeply appreciate his work because nobody from my experience teaches the how to deeply engage with the universe in such a way that leaves you feeling in such awe. I mean, awestruck at there's a being communicating with me about, right now we're focusing on akhirah, on the consciousness that is responsible for eternal life and is asking me to confirm that right now by looking at the tree, by looking at my needs, by looking at the sky, by looking at the bird. And this is not, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anybody who's studied this or talked about this. I think everybody, like Dr. Yamina says, assumes that we are already have Iman, you've already made Shahada, you're already Muslim, and because you were born and you inherited it, you're already Mu'min. Congratulations, you inherited Iman. And that's ridiculous. Iman before Yaqeen is like, did you actually use the universe according to the Quran's guidance to read into the meaning of the one speaking to you through the universe? Because each word, right, each creation is a word, is a message. And we're supposed to be reading the words of God, reading the creation of God, because he's speaking to me individually so that my heart can find satisfaction. And Dr. Yamina said, Sa'ada abadiyya, like this is eternal happiness and it's no simple feat. God is speaking to me through the Quran, and Imam Zawsi is using his direct, painful tribulations and deep traumatic experiences that he has went through and found God in, and now typed up through the help of God in these pages so that I can use it as a companion, as a guide to help me interact with the universe and the angels and the divine power, the speaker, in the same way. So I know that's a lot, but honestly, for me, like I'll never tire from hearing this, and I've been doing this for many years now. And it's something to take very seriously. So like I said, we're turning up the dial. We had to really revisit our intentions in order to continue this halaqah, because when nobody engages back with the material, it's kind of hard to say, well, why are we continuing to meet regularly if nobody's really engaging seriously with the material? Well, at least if there's one or two or three or four, and if we are genuine in our desire to engage with receiving nur, to receive the guidance of God in this way, then Bismillah, may we all renew our intention to join one another in these conversations and to really engage with one another so that we can have a more fruitful experience, right? Dr. Yamina reminded us that there's barakah when we do it together. So Bismillah.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I think intention setting maybe at the beginning of each halaqah is a good idea. And you know, in the Quran too, we see a lot of wording and reminders that are like, "Oh, you who believe, believe," or we're told to revive, rejuvenate our iman. So it's not something that we should just take for granted or keep that and think that it's gonna just be okay on its own. Even something like your phone needs constant software updates. Your iman is much more complex, fundamental, looks to eternity, right? So it also should need constant updates and renewals, inshallah. Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Second matter. Divine power is related to the inner face of things. Yes, the universe has two faces like a mirror. One is its external face, which resembles the colored face of the mirror. The other is its face, which looks to its creator. This resembles the mirror's shining face. Its external face is the arena of opposites. It is where matters like beautiful and ugly, good and evil, big and small, difficult and easy appear. It is because of this that the all-glorious Maker has made apparent causes avail to the disposal of his power, so that the hand of power should not appear to the mind to be directly concerned with matters that on the face of it are insignificant or unworthy. For majesty and dignity require it to be thus. But he did not give a true effect to causes and intermediaries, because the unity of oneness requires that they have none. As for the face of beings, which looks to its creator, in everything it is shining, it is clean. The colors and distortions of individuality do not intervene in it. This aspect faces its creator without intermediary. There are no chains and disposition of causes in it. Cause and effect cannot intrude on it. It contains nothing contorted or askew. Obstacles cannot interfere in it. A particle becomes brother to the sun. Divine power is both simple and infinite and essential. In short, divine power is both simple and infinite and essential. The place connected to divine power has neither intermediary nor stain, nor is it the scene of rebellion. Therefore, within the sphere of divine power, great does not take pride of place over small. The community does not take preference over the individual. Universals cannot expect more from divine power than particulars. I think the idea of a mirror is one of the best symbolisms in Nursi's writings, especially when it comes to understanding the beautiful names. Here we're looking at something that I think we need to connect with the first aim, which we studied, where we talked about the angelic side of creation. So we have the universe has an external face and an internal face. And the internal has no intermediary, we're told. And the external is the arena of opposites. Is it too simplistic, Dr. Yamina, to think of this as physical, like mulk and malakut aspect of creation?
It's actually, the original doesn't have external, sorry, an inner face. The external face is actually the mulk face. These are words from the Quran, mulk and malakut. So when he says in the beginning, divine power is related to the malakut face of things, it's that there is no inner. And yes, it has two faces, and the external is mulk. And when we understand them that way, it's with the help of the mirror metaphor, as you said, it becomes easy not only to understand, but it will help us as a tool in our perceiving the world that way. So we learn to read the events in the world. So we see the malakut within the mulk. That's how this part is related to the angels part. Because if we can confirm the existence of at least the aspect of the creation that looks to the angels, then it becomes easier to have to perform the shahada, to witness, to testify to the certainty of akhirah here and now, inshallah.
Yeah, I think, melekut is a term that, as Dr. Yamina said, we see a lot in the Quran. But if you look at translations, it's not very consistent because I guess every translator has a different interpretation of that. But here, with our study of the 29th word, we have understood the Melekut aspect of creation as the angelic side, as the side that conveys meaning, connects to my soul, my ruh, makes me feel things, not in a way that it's the creator of those feelings, but it's what I am in contact with rather than the matter aspect, right? So the milk is we're thinking of as the matter, like the physical, maybe, and then the melekut is the meaning dimension, the angelic dimension, inshallah. So last week, something that we had said was, for example, when I reflect on the name of the all-glorious maker, the all-powerful creator, Qadir or Rahman or any of the other beautiful names, my reflection has to help me actually achieve that yaqeen that we're talking about. So here too, like I think Sarah was saying, what we're really trying to learn with the guidance of the Nursi text and obviously the Quranic method of reading creation is how can I look at what's around me and connect with that interface of things, the melekut, the angelic aspect, inshallah. If I move, that thing moves too. Okay. One thing that also is interesting to me is this external face is the arena of opposites. So beautiful, ugly, good, evil, big, small, difficult, easy. And it is because of this that the all-glorious maker has made apparent causes avail to the disposal of his power, so that the hand of power should not appear to the mind to be directly concerned with matters that on the face of it are insignificant or unworthy. I find this kind of interesting, so that the idea of causes being a veil is also pretty common imagery in Imam Nursi's work. So when we look at causes and effects, when we look at modern science, for example, and we ask, oh, how did this thing happen? They can just give a chain of causes and an explanation, a scientific explanation for whatever the thing is. But here we're trying to understand that chain as a veil, so that when we see something that we interpret to be ugly or evil or difficult or something that we don't like, we don't immediately blame God, which I find kind of subtle and interesting in that aspect. I mean, I think the part that is especially interesting to me is when you read this and okay, so this is the causes are a veil. So when I see something like when you look at the news or when a sickness befalls you or someone you love, and that situation looks to you to be evil or feels difficult, feels bad, things look ugly, and you have done this sort of tafakkur, this reflection, but even then there's this distancing between your experience, your emotional reaction to the things, and the hand of power, metaphorically. Does that make sense to people? Do you guys have any questions on this little tidbit?
I think some clarification would be good. The last two sentences. So I think that the external face, which for me, it reminded me of free will, like choices, which people can choose beautiful, ugly, good, evil. People's perception, difficult, easy. I understand that, but then it's because of this that the all glorious maker has made apparent causes of veil to the disposal of his power, so that the hand of power should not appear to the mind to be directly concerned with matters that on the face of it are insignificant, or unworthy. I'm not sure. That part just kind of confused me as to what he was trying to say there. Yeah, and actually the two sentences after that. So Dr. Hina, maybe if we can share, John.
Before that, is there anyone else who has an issue with this, and what kind of issue?
You guys can also write in the chat, or you can message me or Sarah if you don't want to write in the general chat.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So not a disagreement, but I think my observation with this paragraph and talking about the angels and also being in a testifying position is that we can't help but be that. And so when I look at the denial around me and sometimes within me of Allah's blessings, or even the trials that we are all going through, or we see Gaza and all of the rest of the places in the world, the Muslim world, for one reason or another, Allah's predestiny is operating, as well as the trial is operating. That how will everybody engage in free will so that the situations can be prevented where, in our minds, preventable harms and fatalities and destruction of earth can be prevented. So even in that difficult, immensely painful witnessing, I have no choice but to witness. I cannot just look away if I have a conscience intact, if I am God minded, and if I have imagination that is given to us with the blessing of Quran, that those who are harmed, those who are deprived, those whose movement and whose risk is restricted by Allah's will, especially those who are vulnerable and who are wronged, they have an afterlife that is going to be fulfilling beyond their imagination. And so, you know how we say that I need to compartmentalize my mind to try to make sense of two dualities or counter indicative information. I think this is our test that on the one hand, we are attesting to the blessings as well as the loss and withholdness of the blessings. And on the other hand, as believers, we are given the foreknowledge that if you do this, with Allah's mercy, you are going to be able to, and those who you have seen being wronged, they are going to be having higher stations in the afterlife. So the denial part is when when even in the non-Muslim world, we hear often in America that he was your guardian angel. This person was meant to come in your path, or it was meant to be. They don't say divinely, but they say it was meant to be. It wasn't meant to be, or that nature is at play, nature is at hand. So denial of why there is so much trouble saying Allah or one sole creator of the universe is out there who has blessed us all with our lives and times on earth. And our trials are there as well as the blessings. And this is a temporary living space. We are on a immigration journey on earth. And then we will return back to our original home, which is in heavens. And then how angels are at play, doing all kinds of works with which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordains them so that human lives can be managed, whether it is climate or death or help, ghaibi help in wars, and also in helping the person understand their life situation themselves, because the ayah that you will learn about yourselves and you will also seek or sorry, obtain knowledge from outside of yourselves, given the ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So to me, the blessings and the withholding of the blessings, the trials, the free will, the divine will, and its interplay, as well as the role of angels, has to be ideally understood at a higher level, synthesized with the knowledge of a believing woman, as we are, alhamdulillah, that we can see. And I will go on to say that even non-believing people who I meet, sometimes they say things that are sounding very belief-like. And so I think by nature, humankind is made to attest. And I think that's why in Quran, Allah Ta'ala put such a high emphasis on the mizan in the afterlife, and also that be just and measure justly, and anul yaqeen and hakul yaqeen while we live our lives. So there is the ghaib, and then there is the clarity of the visible. I hope I'm making sense. Jazakallah khair. Thank you for everybody elaborating also.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I think you touched on some points that, especially with the second matter, will be a bit more elucidated, inshallah. If anyone else has any questions about the text, especially these last sentences here in the first paragraph, please write in the chat, and if not, I'll let Dr. Yamina expand, inshallah. You're muted, Dr. Yamina.
Oh, I thought we're still waiting.
Oh,
Salam alaikum again.
alaikum salam.
So let's remind ourselves again of the general context of what the Quranic guidance, this divine guidance, is bringing us. It's bringing us a new way of being, a new way of perceiving the world, experiencing life. And this experiencing life is very important because it is related to the purpose of our being here in this world. And therefore, it is related to either eternal happiness, which we are created to long for and seek. It's our deepest need. All our needs are connected to that need, and we are all toiling and struggling and striving to attain that, whether consciously or not. So we need to pause in our life and be clear about what our need is and make choices accordingly. Otherwise, we will not feel how crucial, how vital, how a great blessing divine guidance is, the Quran is. And when we start interacting with the Quran from this need perspective, the Quran will become something, not a static codex, a book sitting there that we recite. And we recite it, it is a blessing, alhamdulillah, it's all good, but it will be much more than that. It start speaking to us and making the whole universe, our whole life will start speaking, becoming meaningful. In a way, but in a very, how do you say, primitive metaphor would be, we're collecting some beautiful, how they call the calligraphy works. And we have all this calligraphy all around us. And then when we look at it, it's hanged on the wall or somewhere. And then when we look at it, we are happy. It looks very pretty, the colors, the shape, everything. But then someone said, you know, that it has a meaning, and those meanings are, let's say, actually some of it is saying, open this, behind this, there is a door. That door actually takes you to a garden that you were not aware of. The other one takes you to a treasure of gold and money that you were not aware of. Can you see the difference between the two? One is beautiful tableaus and calligraphy. The other one is it has meaning. Not only it has meaning, but it has meaning that is very crucial, because it could be just saying some nice words of wisdom. No, this is nice words of wisdom that are really, really very important. So now, what the Quran is teaching us is to look how everything is actually speaking about God. It's actually indicating meanings beyond itself. So if it is created beautiful, it is speaking about a source of beauty, about a source of life, a source of power. And that source of life and power, it matters to me because that's what I need. Because I realize that we are coming from the same source. So very simply put, without the Quran, we live life in a horizontal way. We have horizontal relationship with everything around us. Things exist, we like them, we don't like them, we benefit from them, we don't. That's it. There is nothing apart from themselves. What we learn from divine guidance is that relationship, that horizontal relationship is the ayah that takes us beyond the seen. It takes us to the unseen. It takes us to the world or the realm of the beautiful, the manifestation of the beautiful names that look to infinity, therefore that look to akhirah. And so when we learn to decipher the language of the creation, then how they are testifying to their maker, to our maker, we learn to testify together by their means, together with them. And that's the way to actually perform the shahada here and now. That shahada is going to increase our iman here and now, and it is the means to live with the ihsan. It means in the presence of the divine here and now. So if I don't deny I am a Muslim and I don't deny anything in the Quran. I like it, I'm striving, but I never learned how to live in this horizontal way. I never learned how to actively perform the Shahada. I just repeat the words. And of course, because the words are blessed, I do benefit from it. Then when things are good, even someone who denies God or who doesn't care about whether there is a creator or not, a maker or not, we are created fitratan, in the fitra, with that need or that relationship with things that we are at awe when something is awesome. We call it awesome, amazing, wonderful, it's beautiful. It's when we see something like that, everyone is attracted, fitratan. So to be grateful, to acknowledge something powerful, awesome, is in the fitra. That we, as Muslims, we think that is our iman. No, that's in the fitra. Everyone else has it. It's like when you are thirsty and you drink, you're really thirsty or really hungry, and you eat something really delicious. Even a cat, a kitten, will be very happy. You will see it. Everyone will be very happy. Now, that gratitude is given to us. The iman starts afterwards. When we acknowledge, when we testify, we experience and testify, we have learned how to testify that this gratitude is being poured into me. It's being channeled into me. The shakir, the one who makes me appreciate, is not me. I am made to appreciate. And when I recognize that I am not the one who is grateful, just like I'm not the one who is eating the food, I just intend to, and everything starts working for me. The more I pause and the more I witness, I learn to testify with tadabbur, the more then I will be able to truly say Alhamdulillah. So hamd, this appreciation, this gratitude, everything, just like the food, just like everything else, belongs to whoever is giving it to me right now. So now we transcend the horizontal, we start interacting with something beyond. Someone is doing something out there and within me. And my relationship is an ayah. I start becoming aware, conscious of the meaning there. And that's where I start connecting to what is beyond. And I feel in my heart much more awe and amazement as the fact that I am made to be amazed. Where is this amazement coming from? So this is, now Iman is going to start. That testifying, that Shahada increases my Iman. It is an act of ibadah. My hamd is a form of articulating, expressing my worshipfulness. And so I learn to, step by step, slowly, live in the presence of God with ihsan. Otherwise, when I think that the appreciation that I feel is iman, actually everyone feels that appreciation, and I don't consciously, intentionally give it back to God. I don't deny it either. And I say, Alhamdulillah, it's all from God, and I pass, then it doesn't increase anything. I am always relying on that first moment of surrender. So there is surrender, but Iman is not growing. And we are all good when everything is going well. Something unwanted happens, and it's not just me who doesn't want it. For instance, if it's a hardship, an illness, oppression, all these things, we are made to dislike it. So it's not like I'm being fussy. Now, if I am used to living horizontally, and at the same time, I profess belief in God. It's easy when I profess belief in God when everything is well. Just like some people say the universe, nature, I say Allah. Now it becomes difficult. Those of us who have good faith, who have surrender, what we say, okay, let's, as Cyrus said, it doesn't make sense. God is good and merciful and all-powerful. How come this is happening? We try to, how do you say, reconciliate these two in our own inner world. So we say, yes, but there is akhirah, God will give them a reward and this and that. And what we're saying is correct, but our heart is still not at peace. Why? A little bit, of course, because we remembered akhirah. But if we stop and really look into our heart, there is still a lots of fear because we don't have, how do you say, yaqeen. We are not certain of akhirah. We just wish, inshallah, there is akhirah, otherwise it's not really good. Huh? It doesn't look very good. So we are hoping that there will be akhirah, hoping that these people will be rewarded, hoping that all my hardship won't be for nothing. So this hoping is much better than denying, but we feel in our heart that still what we do, we avoid staying there too long, because if we stay too long, everything will come out like a volcano, all the anxiety and the doubts and the fears, and because we are hoping, and we do claim, we do say Allah is all powerful, but we don't have evidence in the sense that my heart has not experienced it. I cannot say I have no doubt because my heart has itmi'nan. In order for my heart to have itmi'nan, I cannot rely on something that happened in the past only. I have to also be able to here and now, while I am going through the hardship, I need to see what is beyond, because the hardship, just like the blessing, is like the mirror. Remember, it also can be, it is also an ayah. It also indicates something beyond. If I learn to connect with everything vertically, I will find the beautiful names, the beauty and the power and all the what is beyond opposites there. That's what we witness. That's what the Shahada is about. And so another metaphor that is used here, what we see when we look first horizontally is the mulk. And we say it's Allah's mulk, but in our heart, are we sure without doubt that it is Allah's mulk. There is only one way to do that. When we learned how to see the malakut within the mulk. The mulk is the window onto the malakut. The calligraphy, the writing on the wall, it's beautiful and everything, but that is writing, it has meaning. I learned to read that language. If someone doesn't know Arabic, for them it's just calligraphy. If someone doesn't read Chinese, I personally can't read Chinese. So if I see something, some pretty Chinese calligraphy, I can't read what's there. But there could be a very important message. I am unaware. So just like that, everything that is created with meaning, with wisdom, with rahmah. When we learn to read, and we don't, this reading is, of course, that's why I'm saying it's very simplistic when we use the language, just to understand that there is meaning. But in the creation, it's not as a simple language. It has meaning within meaning within meaning. So we start listening to the meanings, to the glorifications, to the testimony of the events around us and within us. They all testify to the beautiful names. They all testify to something beyond opposites, to something that is pure goodness. And so when I learn that, in the hardship, I will see the beautiful face of things that looks to God, that looks to Akhirah, that looks to the beautiful names of God. So whatever is going on, you can always, whatever is going on is always going to be up and down, easy and hard, good and bad, health and illness. But I won't be stuck in the health itself or in the illness itself, because all of them are speaking to me. All of them become fellow, like they are all teachers. They are all teaching me how to witness to this realm which we are preparing for. And so everything, the perception of life will change, because it's not about this life. Because when we are living horizontally, there is an illusion that we are here forever. We don't say we are here forever, but we are constantly unaware that there is only the now. Yesterday is not here, this morning is not here, and tonight is still not here. There is no tonight yet. We are expecting it, but it's not here. We don't have that awareness. We don't have the awareness of the flow. And so how can I witness that there is a flow coming from an unseen world? How can my focus be on that unseen world when I'm unaware of the flow, when I'm stuck in the horizontal world, as though there is no transience and as though I am here to be here? So career becomes my objective in life, doing this, doing that, all those objectives, and we never feel in our heart that this is not what we came for. These are all means. They are not the goals. They are not the purpose. So we start living life very differently, perceiving events very differently. And so life will speak and will feel differently. So, but if we understand this second matter only intellectually, it won't make sense. Here he's saying, in a way, I'm reinterpreting, if you're stuck in the horizontal, you will see that these things made me allergic, made me sick, for instance. So it's good. If you are living like that, sometimes we are insincere and we say, why did Allah make me sick? Just a second. If you think that the sickness is from Allah, then you should be in the vertical. Then you shouldn't be in a complaining mode, because the one who truly sees it, who truly witnesses it, has already transcended the the opposites and the sickness and the health and everything. He's just at awe of Allah's creating. And I know that whatever is coming my way is coming with wisdom and is coming to teach me something, to prepare me for my real purpose, which is not in this transient world that almost doesn't exist, almost. So much it's fleeting. And so I'm not complaining. But why I said insincere? Because I am complaining because I am experiencing the world horizontally, which means I am distorting. I have a distorted experience of the world because I never questioned what I am seeing. I already made up my mind without even questioning it. And then I bring Allah made it. When did you see Allah making you sick? If you saw it, you would not complain. So that's why he's saying, if you live consistently, if I'm consistent and not insincere, and I see the illness came from this, then even if I'm going to complain, I won't complain about God, I will complain about causes, what I perceive as the causes. But if I am speaking about God, then just a second. Are you now experiencing that's from God? Like, if you're consistent, when we experience God, when we witness, we should be in the Malakut. In the Malakut, there is no opposites. There is nothing to complain about. Inshallah. This much, inshallah, will have clarified a little bit.
I think this is something that we talk about, actually, the idea of, Dr. Yamina said it very nicely. She said insincerity, but we could also call it cheating, I guess. Sometimes we just use language that we hear or that is used around us. But like she said, if I'm not seeing it that way, if I'm not experiencing it that way, and I'm just stealing the language, there's a dissonance. So I'm sick, and then I'm like, why did Allah make me sick? But I haven't actually witnessed my creation that way. So I'm just using
Dishonest, maybe, is another word.
Yeah, dishonest, yeah. So when it's when it's in this situation, I'm like, oh, how come God made me sick, even though I haven't really witnessed God's creation in that way, or my own creation in that way. Because like she said, if I was reading the universe, the creation, myself in this way, that everything is being created with wisdom, meaning, beauty, everything is a manifestation of the beautiful names, and they're being conveyed to me, communicated to me, then I wouldn't be in complaint mode. So when I go back to this paragraph and we're reading, okay, it is because of this that the all-glorious Maker has made apparent causes avail to the disposal of his power, so that the hand of power should not appear to the mind to be directly concerned with matters that on the face of it are insignificant or unworthy. So precisely because, or precisely so that I don't, whenever I see something that I don't like, or I experience something that makes me uncomfortable, I'm not just, shaking my fist and being like, why did God do this? Why did he make me sick? Why did he let this person I like die? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Because if I am, and this is again dishonest, because in the real experience, if we're being honest with ourselves, we're not witnessing God directly doing that. We're seeing a chain of causes. I got sick because I got the virus from my friend who coughed into my food or something, right? So there's this veil, and it protects, not protects, but this next part is majesty and dignity require it to be thus, so that this veil needs to exist so that I'm not overstepping my boundary. I'm not being dishonest. I'm not cheating because I have a distorted view. I'm not witnessing correctly. But then I still want to turn around and be like, why did God make me sick? Why did he do this ugly thing? Right? It's because I'm trying to go past the veil without witnessing. But here, like Dr. Yamina was saying, if I truly looked at the interface, looked at the Melekut, I wouldn't be in that mode. I wouldn't be in the why did he do this, why did he do that? I would be in a totally different mode. Okay, then the last sentence, but he did not give a true effect to causes and intermediaries because the unity of oneness requires that they have none, right? So the idea is that they're just a veil to the disposal of his power. They don't actually have any effect. They don't have any creative power. The bacteria, the virus. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Amina.
The same friend maybe coughed and there were many friends and not everyone got the virus, for instance.
Right. Yeah, so there's this the cough itself, the virus itself isn't the one creating my sickness, but it's the veil. Right? So that's how I'm understanding it.
Add the control. When it comes to me, it is by divine will, even if someone else is the cause or I did something. But when I start looking at it from the Melekut, then my question becomes different. Oh, sometimes everyone is sick and you don't get sick, and sometimes no one is sick and you get sick. It's not because, yes, the sickness comes from the virus, but the virus is appointed to me. The virus is there all the time and it doesn't affect me all the time. When it affects me, then it's time to, it came by divine will. So what's going on? Where is the wisdom in this? Where is the rahmah in this? And once we ask these questions with surrender, and we learned to read the events out there, because when I'm not concerned, it's easier to read. Now I can apply them to myself, and I will see all the names, and that experience becomes a very rich experience that brings me closer to God, closer to my weakness, to my powerlessness, how I'm taken care of, and an opportunity to again reconfirm the source of everything, to increase my gratitude, the consciousness of living as abd, as a worshiper of God. So it becomes a beautiful experience as far as not only this world is concerned, but more importantly, as far as our destination, our true destination is concerned, inshallah.
Sarah wanted to share this, and I know you had your hand up, Sarah, so go ahead, please.
So I'm processing, very deeply processing what's being shared, and cross-referencing it with the current happenings in my life. So this verse immediately came to me when Dr. Yamina started sharing. So it's from the Spider, chapter 29, Al-Ankabut. I believe the first verse is Alif Lam Mim, which Dr. Yamina has a beautiful tafsir on our Receiving Noor channel, from previous Quran chapters that we've studied together, surahs, passages, reminding us that we don't know. We're not the ones that know, and to really, again, renew our intention to humble ourselves, that we are coming to this Quran because we don't know. And therefore, looking at the universe, there is a infinite knowledge operating amongst us. And so to reacquaint myself with that reality. In the second verse, أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. So as soon as Dr. Yamina started talking, wallahi, I heard this like ring inside of me, subhanAllah. Do people think that they'll be let go merely by saying we believe amanna, which I thought was interesting, because we're talking about this quote unquote iman that we're claiming. Not me. I'm working on it. But the people that are saying, yeah, we believe, yeah, we're believers, alhamdulillah. Do they think that they're gonna, just the way he asked the question, Allahu Akbar, is, do people think, do you human beings, you forgetful human beings, think that you're gonna be left to say, amanna, like that's a big claim, I have iman, وهم لا يفتنون, and they won't be sent to the fitan. These trials, that just humbled me all the way, yani side by side with everything Dr. Yamina just shared. And I'm like humbling myself to say, listen, I'm at the very starting point of this. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Literally, like, I just need to go make a million istighfars right now. Because this brings the fitna, the trial is going to show you who's lying, is going to, and who's sadaq, who's confirming the truth, which Dr. Yamina also has a beautiful tafsir on one of the surahs that we studied together. Saddaqa bil husna. فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. And those who are lying are covering the truth. So feel free to comment, Dr. Yamina, on these verses if it comes to you. But that was just very humbling for me to receive with what you're saying. And I think with sickness, maybe it's a little bit easier for me to reconcile as divine will. I think where it gets, and with the global scale of happenings, which have nothing to do with my free will, I have to come to accept that it has, I didn't choose this, therefore it is divine will, therefore there must be wisdom, and then sitting with the little pieces of discrepancy in my heart and making peace with that, right? Like things that make me upset. Okay, reminder, like Dr. Yamina said, it's not me that's getting upset. I'm made to get upset. Those things for me are easier. We've studied them so far in the 29th word to reconcile. It's not me who's getting angry at injustice. I'm made this way, and to make sadaqu, like to make tasdeeq there, to confirm that, okay, it's not I'm rejecting the happenings, it's I'm made to dislike, so I can turn that, convert that, or like alchemy, receive witnessing there if I understand that truly it's not me who's upset. For me, at least currently, today, in the new fitan, and may Allah protect us from the fitna, all of us, ameen. I think it's more difficult when it's your free will that's involved. So at least in the past, I can say, oh yes, but my free will was aligned with divine will, which is why it was brought into existence, because if divine will wasn't accepting of the choice, then it wouldn't have happened. Therefore, I would say, okay, yes, but this is still divine will, even if I chose it. Okay, Habibi, go ahead. So I think now what I struggle with is when it is your choice and you're 100% responsible for what you choose. And so you can't just copy paste or use the cheat code and say, okay, this is God who did this to me. Well, actually, you chose this for yourself and you're 100% responsible for that choice. And I'm wondering if this is clear, the comment, but I think at that point, it's not like the causes are a veil, because it's the free will that I was given. But and so this is what I still want to say this, but I was recently speaking to another teacher and I was really struggling with the response that I received, because I want to still say that even in my free will, there's divine will that okayed my free will. So divine will is still not separate from my free will. I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess that's
Of course, we have free will because we have been given. So it's not separate from divine will, but the choice that I make, that's my choice. I am not, it's not compulsory, but my free will is very limited. It's very limited, but it's very important. Because as far as I'm concerned, even when it comes to the creation part, I have zero. I do not create anything. But when it comes to the choice part, I have a small say, and that small say makes a difference. If I choose to be on the path to surrender or not, I renew my intention for ibadah and ubudiyah or not. So although it seems like tiny, it's very important. But at the same time, if we are looking here at something that happens to me, once, let's say I made a choice, there is no need to dwell on, was it my choice that caused it? Because my free will is also part of the chain of the veil, of the chain of cause and effect. If I can see clearly that it is my choice that brought about something unwanted, I make istighfar, and next time I don't make that choice. But even when I make, so now once the choice is made, the next time is not to dwell on the choice itself, but to make a new choice. The new choice is to make istighfar. The new choice is not to insist on that. The new choice, each time we are choosing. And at the end of the day, if I make a choice And it happened that technically it was not the right one. But if my intention was for something good, Allah will create something good out of it. So the whole thing is to be focused on what is my intention. So we need to make the choice conscious, because most of the time we make choices unconsciously. And it doesn't mean that we are going to make every single choice conscious, which would be good. But if we make a general intention that, for instance, in the morning, that like before we sleep, there is the dua, like my death is from Allah and my life is from Allah. So that general intention in the morning is to start the day in the name of God. And so it makes all the du'as that we make in the morning, and we start with the morning prayer, is even if I'm not always taking every step consciously, I am within the choice of ibadah, of the choice of surrendering to God. And when something comes outside from beyond my free will, I surrender. Again, it's a choice. How do I take this news that affects me directly or indirectly? Affects me or someone I know or people I care about? Or once I take the news, what is my response? Do I just react or do I respond? And whatever I find within myself is given to me. What do I do with it? So actually, the formula is always the same. It all only seems different because we become overwhelmed with the feelings, and we are overwhelmed with the feelings because we identify with them, when in fact they are not from us, they are coming to us with messages. Even pain, if I have an illness, is there to tell me something. But if I'm stuck in the horizontal, me and the pain shouldn't be here, then I'm not listening to it and it becomes overwhelming. And the more I had read a long time ago, 80% of the pain we feel is because we're focused on the pain. You see that with children. If you distract them with something else, they're not crying anymore, they're not feeling it anymore. And we know it from ourselves as well. When we distract our attention, it drops. And if we, instead of distracting, if we interact with the pain or anything else as a messenger from God, then it will be different. But let's not go there. It's a different topic, inshallah. But it's related to the malakuti side of things. When we're stuck in the mulk, it becomes very, very difficult because the ruh cannot stand, is not created for the mulk. The body lives in the mulk.
That is so helpful to clarify this passage. Thank you so much. I was really struggling to feel resonance with this passage inside. I mean, I can see it out there, but I love that last, alhamdulillah, that last piece that you gave was very clarifying, that we get very overwhelmed in our feelings when we identify with the pain itself, which is the mulk, which I wouldn't have made that connection. That wasn't so clear. For me, the mulk was like the stuff out there. But even pain, if I'm not listening to it, we've been saying that so much, but now it's like if you just think of it as something that shouldn't be here, or something that I don't like, or completely unaware of the fact that this isn't mine, it's something like a visitor, like Jalaluddin Rumi rahimahullah says, something that comes that would mean that I'm so in touch with my reality as the observer in this body, which is what many halakas ago we started with, that that this body is like a house, and we're dressed, not even dressed in it, but we dwell deep inside of it, clothed in a luminous sheet.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's a good reconnection to remember that you cannot interact with the universe in the right way when you forget who you actually are. You know, we take ourselves as these bodies, or I take myself often as the feeling. And I've been listening to you, Dr. Yamina, for how many years now? And it's still very hard to remember that the feelings, because they land like a sudden boulder that literally knocks you out sometimes. Like you just are so overcome and completely lose sight. And therefore, the great reminder is that there's a pure interface of the sender here speaking to me, regardless of whether it was my choice that put me in this situation, or you know, a completely divine will that ordained a happening to happen that I'm now seeing in my life. All of that is still within the cause and effect chain, because wait, the specific word that you use, it's still within the causals. When something comes from, sorry, I was just reading the notes, but what's given to me right now, coming back to the present moment right now, which is the only, Dr. Yamina's emphasis is like, you can only be conscious right now. So regardless of the happenings that brought me to this moment, in this moment right now, which is so much easier than having to think about the whole past and who did what wrong and why we did these mistakes to end up in this situation. Rather, how can I completely shift to an enlightened, illuminated way of viewing this right now? By noticing that even the feeling that overwhelms me is the mulk. It's part of his kingdom. He owns it. It comes to me as a visitor to share something and leave. But the more that I turn away and run, the more it stays. And a couple of friends of ours from Halakha were talking yesterday. It will stay in your little body forever as certain pains in your physical body, until you decide to really listen and be present with it. And like you said, Dr. Yamina, choose to surrender, accept it, make peace with it, make a better choice, renew. And then when you said that the ruh cannot stand to interact with the mulk, I just felt like I could breathe again. I'm like, oh, that's so true. Like that's the sadaqah, you know, that's the sadaqah, or you know, you finally hear something that and you confirm it as true, and it's so liberating. So therefore, it shows us that when we cover the truth, when we kadhib, we're lying, really. We're saying, oh, I feel so overwhelmed. I'm like so stuck in this feeling. But the ruh hates that. I'm suffocating myself because this is not mine to claim, subhanAllah. That was very helpful. I want to pause and see if anybody wants to add anything, because we're at time, or share. May we all find liberation in this guidance and clarify, you know, who we actually are and how to engage with the angelic side, the malakuts, in a way that liberates the ruh and doesn't feel overwhelming and suffocating, and because of the lie of claiming that it was ours.
Thank you, Sarah. One thing that I think stands out to me is that in each scenario, I can ask why me, but the way I'm asking is completely different. So I'm sick, and if I'm stuck in the horizontal, I'm saying, why me? Why did this happen to me? This stuff always finds me. I was just sick 2 weeks ago, and now I'm sick again. And it's suffocating. If I'm making the vertical connection and I'm trying to see the melekut, I can still ask why me, but in this way, I'm asking why me, in that what is my creator communicating with me right now? Why am I sick right now? What do I need to learn? What is being sent to me? What message am I supposed to receive? And I think even that, right, just changes how we experience the sickness and welcome it versus battling with it. I think one of the recurring themes in Dr. Yamina's halakas and retreats is obviously surrender, but how this resistance is really hard on us. If I keep saying no, 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 I don't like it, I hate it, I'm uncomfortable, I'm just going against what's being created. And I'm not welcoming the feelings, like you said, I'm getting stuck in them. Then there's no, it's like a swamp, or like is it a swamp? What is it? A quicksand. Yeah, you just keeps sinking into it, I guess. So we ask the same question, but with different intentions. Inshallah.
And maybe it's not even why me anymore, because it's really not the same. What you asked the second time has nothing to do with why me. Even why me, like
It's not about me anymore. It's all about
exactly.
God, because that's what I care about. Because with God, everything is well with me.
That is so liberating and safe. That made me feel so good. Like with God, to repeat that, with God, everything is good with me in this moment right now, regardless of what's happening. That felt so clear. What he said about the pure, the interface is so pure and good and shining. That felt so true inside, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. I have to leave. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Yamina. We'll end there, but before we end, well, let me do the prayer, inshallah, and next week we'll do the third matter. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواكم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة على رسولنا صلوات.